August 17th, 2017. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 133 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
And sitting next to us is my sister-in-law, Elle, who has come on the show to talk about a few things. Elle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We're going to be talking specifically about the cruises that Caesars Entertainment offers, these free cruises, and find out exactly how free they are. And also talk about, you're a slot player mostly, so we're going to talk about slot play and that kind of thing.
Two things we know nothing about.
Cruises and slots?
Cruises and slots.
I certainly know nothing about cruises. I've never been on one. At least you've been on one.
I've been on one, but I paid for that one. It was a real cruise, I guess.
So a couple of weeks ago, the family went out for a big birthday celebration. We have 3 birthdays in the family that are relatively close to each other. Elle, you're one of them.
Yes.
And my mom and our son, who was turning 19.
Right.
So we all got together and went out to a nice dinner. And then afterwards, we went back to my folks' house and had some cake and exchanged presents. And afterwards, some of us then went to the casino.
Shocking.
Barona Casino out here. Right. So it was Elle, my sisters, our son, 19, because he can go to Barona. Barona's where we went.
Yeah, they have 18.
18 or older for that. So the casinos in California are either 21 and older or 18 and older. And I think it's up to the casino. And a lot of it is tied to, do they serve alcohol?
Yeah.
And Barona does not serve alcohol, at least on the casino floor.
Right, just only in the restaurants.
Only in the restaurants, right. So that's 18 and over. So Elle, my sisters, our son, my mom, and I went out to Barona. The only 3 who didn't go were our 14-year-old son, obviously, because he can't play, and my wife, Sherry, and my dad, who's just not a casino guy.
No. When I asked him, I said, well, how come you didn't go? Oh, I have no interest in that. And they were full, he said, car-wise. He's like, they got 2 carfuls. There's no room for me.
There was a big debate about, how cars can go and everything. Yeah, when it comes to my dad, it's funny because his dad loved going to the casino.
Right.
We talked about it. It skipped a generation, but see, it didn't skip a generation in your case.
No. It hasn't skipped anybody in my case.
Right, and Elle, I don't think it skipped in your case either. Your mom loves to go,
We're
right?
3rd generation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right, so anyway, we went out there, and one of the reasons that I wanted to take my mom to Barona specifically is because they have that stadium blackjack. Right? Where you can all sit next to each other and you all get the same hand. Yeah. And you're dealing, even though the cards are being dealt by a real dealer up front, you're really only dealing with a video screen in front of you. So there's a lot less pressure. It's not as intimidating.
Right, you're all playing the same hand.
And you're all playing the same hand and $3 minimums.
Yeah, because your mom hates it when she's on third base and some guy's got, soft 17 and he stands against a 10. She just goes crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly what my mom does.
Fights have ensued and stuff, so she likes it. Everyone's playing
that's exactly what my mom does. So this was nice. $3 minimum. It was cheap. It's real blackjack, too. 3-2 payouts. Yeah. They have surrender. I think they hit soft 17. I don't know. It didn't come up and it wasn't on the display. But, it's real blackjack. And the nice thing is, too, I was really the only one who knew basic strategy. So if we all get the same hand, I said, okay, this is one to hit on. All right, this is one to double on.
Right.
And so we went out there and we actually had a great time. It was funny because now this was the first time my son has ever been in a casino.
Playing in a casino.
You're right, because for my 50,
walked through.
Yeah, he's walked through before, and in the past he hasn't really liked it because he doesn't like the loud noises and the crowds and everything. Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, what's the worst thing that can happen to somebody who really gambles for the first time? What's the worst thing that can happen?
Bar none, winning is the worst thing that can happen.
And even worse, because I was supposed to join you at this stadium-style blackjack.
Right.
I never even got there because I sat down at a table at a slot machine, and within 2 pulls, I hit $980.
Yeah, what can she do? She can't leave.
She can't leave. I mean, you're stuck there.
Your son David hears this and is like, "Oh, this is fantastic."
Well, the thing is, we sat down at this stadium blackjack. We must have won like the first 7 or 8 hands. And David turns to me and says, wow, I really like this. I said, yeah, you like it. I know you like it. I'm trying to explain to him, we could have lost the first 8 hands.
Right. Yeah, very few people have won the first 8 hands and said, this really sucks. Let's leave.
So he was so excited. And so the evening kind of went on, and then it kind of settled down, and we were winning or losing. But he was still ahead when we were ready to go. The other thing was they had a giveaway going on at Barona.
This is very typical of Barona.
Yeah, they have a lot of different giveaways.
Like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, and this was a Saturday night, so it was very busy. And the way that they did it, I won't go into the details, but they split the stadium blackjack people into 2 sections. They said, all right, this is section A, this is section B. And they had this little contest going on. And for $100, everybody who was in the winning section would get $100. Well, it turns out we were in the losing section, but we still got $40 each.
Wow.
So, David wins for blackjack.
I don't know if that's a loser, though. You could say
I know, right?
You're losing section, they gave you $40 bucks.
So David, wins this, gets $40, so he's loving it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So
he's thinking, forget college. Why do I need to go to college?
Actually, everybody had a very good time. My sister Dana said she loved it. Well, I said, what do you think of it? She said, oh, this is great. Because again, she's somebody who maybe is a little intimidating. You go to the table and it worked out great.
But she also left ahead.
Yeah, same thing. That's the thing. We're all playing the same hand, so we all won.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, if you're a group, it's great, right?
Yes.
Everybody wins or everyone loses. You're all commiserating. It's not like one guy in the car won 1,000. Everyone else got hammered, right?
Oh, wait, that was me.
So that was great. And so, we're driving home and David's saying, yeah, when can we go again? When can we go again? I'm thinking, oh no, what have I created here? Well, it's funny because later that week, he said, hey, I'm going to go up to Barona with my friend.
Hang on. The day after, he asked his Aunt Sue,
that's right,
can you take me?
He's bumming rides already.
So then it was 2 days later.
Yeah, that he said, okay, is it okay? I'm going to take the bus up there. They have buses that run up there, and the bus is actually right by our house. So I said, okay, and I'm giving all these warnings like, don't lend money to anybody and, be careful.
You're the good dad.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, this trip didn't go quite as well, and he ended up losing and saying, okay, well, I think I'm done. But it's funny because afterwards he was telling Sherry and me, I really wish I could play without playing with money. And at first we're thinking, oh, well, you can do that. You play money online or whatever. But what he meant was he really likes the atmosphere of that stadium gaming. Oh, he likes, just that whole thing being with a friend and playing. So that's what he really liked was the whole milieu of the stadium gaming there. So we'll probably take him again, but he's in no hurry to go back now, because he got stung a little bit.
I don't know.
Now, did he tell you that I went there and fed him?
That's right. So that same day he went up with the bus, Elle shows up and gets him a free buffet.
Right.
Well, he told me he was going with a friend, and I said, when are you going? He said, I'm already here. And I said, I'm going to join you maybe in about an hour. I'm going to wait till the traffic dies down. Well, I accidentally fell asleep, took a little nap. A few hours later, I get on the road and head out, and he says, are you here? And I said, are you out of money? And he said, yes. So we're just walking around outside. They were just waiting for me to arrive to bring them to the buffet. Well, I'm sure they ate their fill. But he did say that I lost my birthday money.
Yeah, that's
all of his birthday money.
Well, the money he won from the previous trip,
so
and probably some more.
Well, if he just lost the money he won a little more, he can go either way. So he'll either say, "Okay, that's it, I'm done," or in a week or two, he'll be like, "God, I need to get that back. I need to get that money back."
No,
I mean that's me every Monday.
Yeah, I know that's and I know that's you, and I warned him about that too. The worst thing you can do is I need to get that money back. I better gamble more.
Well, I'm laughing because the friend that he brought along only brought $20.
Yeah.
And he played a solid hour on the stadium blackjack.
Yeah, see, isn't that great? And you can. I mean, obviously,
well, it was $3 limit. Right?
$3, right?
Yeah. See, now that's great too. Right?
Yes.
If you've got a limited budget, $3. I mean, you can last. My dad takes 300 on the slot machines out there and stays. What did he stay the other day?
12 like 12 hours at
12
Barona.
hours on $300.
Wow. Yeah. Here's the thing about Barona. I was telling you this, Mike. I love Barona. I love the atmosphere, the way that it looks, and the personnel and everything. There are only 2 things I don't like about Barona.
Right.
One is the craps dealers. I don't know what it is. All the other dealers I've dealt with, all the rest of the personnel, but the craps dealers, Mike, same thing.
Terrible.
Number 2, we don't get comps.
Right.
The comps are real low.
So the two things that matter most,
the most important things to us,
as far as gambling,
So
are the dealers and the comps, and we don't get either of them.
So that's why we don't go. I love everything else about this place.
So the thing about the comps that I learned at Verona is it's almost old school Excalibur. Where instead of doing a point system where, you have X number of reward credits like we do at Caesar's Palace, theirs is all based on your relationship with the VIP services.
Okay.
So you have to go up to the VIP services and say, what can you give me? And then they'll say, well, what do you want? Like not really telling you.
Right.
But then you say, well, I'd like dinner. And they go, well, for one, and you're like 3, and they'll do 3, they'll do 4. Then you can even say, I want some money at the gift shop. And they'll say, how much? I go, how about $40? And they're very quick to write you a quick check.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say they're quick, because in the past, and this is a while back, when we had been playing for a while at the craps table and we asked for a buffet, for us, it took forever. It seemed like they had to jump through so many hoops.
I think I was in for about $4,000.
Yeah.
And we had to jump through hoop to get a buffet.
So maybe things are different. So I'm glad to hear that. But at least as far as mailers and with Harrah's up here, we get stuff in the mail and email that says, okay, here's your free play. This is what you're getting.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. And, we've got good relationships with people up there. It's a different system. But
right. But when you get something in the mail and you're going to get $230,
and you're going to get it,
you're going to get it, you just walk to the window and they give it to you. There's a big difference between almost begging. The time you got a shirt.
Yeah, right.
You asked for a shirt.
We get a free shirt, and again, we jumped through so many hoops, and then they finally gave us some shirt from some slot tournament that they'd had.
It was just leftover slot tournament shirt, but it seemed like it was like, oh my God, we've just given you a shirt.
Well, now they do send a monthly mailer, and in it they give you checks.
Yeah, right.
Now the thing about Verona is that they don't give you free play. They give you cash.
That is true. I have been able to go straight up to the cashier with the $5 thing and get the cash.
Well, my dad gets it at the end of, I think he said on the 29th of August, he'll get one for $150.
Right. They have a little buffer in between, though. Yeah. So you don't use it one at midnight and then the next at 12:01.
Yeah.
There's like a 3 or 4 day gap.
Yeah, right. But still, as far as like the mailers, you still get more from Harrah's, right? As far as just in the mail and how much you're getting and what
Definitely.
have you. Yeah.
Verona only gives me one for the first half of the month and something for the second half.
That's what my dad said, right? Yeah. But the thing is, too, I was telling my dad this. He was complaining about that. My dad complains about free money a lot.
That's right. Yeah. If you get $100 in free play and you play it and you only cash out for $90, you've lost $10.
Lost $10.
Yeah, exactly.
He's mad. He lost $10. Yep. He was saying, how come that is that Verona didn't give him as much as Harrah's? And he does gamble more at Verona than he does at Harrah's. Mm-hmm. I said, well, Dad, you got to remember, Harrah's is backed by Caesar's Entertainment.
Yeah, right.
And it's a lot bigger distribution. I don't know how their money, all actually falls out. But Verona's a single casino. They're not affiliated with anybody.
Right.
Yep. So anything they give you comes out of their bottom line, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And then they pool together with corporate to be able to make you offers from Vegas, Atlantic City, New Orleans.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the corporation versus a single entity.
Yeah. Anyway, so good experience at Verona. So thought we.
Well, hopefully, David won't quite follow in your path. He'll just be like your mom.
Yeah, maybe like my mom. And it's like, we can't take him to Harrah's yet because that's 21 and older. So we've got at least another 2 years for that. So
when he goes there, he'll be hooked on alcohol. This is great.
Yeah, right. All right. So, so Caesar's Entertainment, we actually got some questions from some listeners about this. People who have a Total Rewards Players Club might get offers from Caesar's Entertainment for these free cruises. And we've had some questions, how free are these cruises really? Are they, what does that mean, a free cruise?
Right.
And you've actually taken advantage of, well, tell us your story about being offered the free cruise. Didn't you initially see one you think, well, this can't be right, and you just ignored it, but then followed up on it?
That's absolutely correct. So initially, before I upped my bankroll, I received an offer for a free cruise with their partner, which is Norwegian Cruise Lines.
Okay.
And it said free cruise from 3 nights to 7 nights. And I thought, this is fantastic. So I looked at their list, not knowing then that it was a very minimal list. And also not knowing then that the initial offers is inside room only.
Okay, so minimalist as far as, you mean ports of call or where they
correct.
go? Okay.
Right. They'll offer you like 3 or 4 ports.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe places that don't get hit as much, or, they're trying to fill the ship up. Is that what it's like?
That's correct.
Yeah.
One of them are common cruises.
Right.
Okay.
Now, you'll never get one that's offered like for, Hawaii or Australia.
Sure.
Right.
And the inside rooms, if you've never been in, it's like there are no windows.
Right.
It's like a coffin. It's very dark. Yeah. So the first offer that I received, I thought, this sounds fantastic, better than you can believe. So I called it up and I spoke with the Norwegian Cruise Line representative for the casinos. And she went over the itinerary, all the options. I thought, this is absolutely fantastic. We went through all the steps until the end. She said, okay, now that's going to cost you. And it came out to be about $500 per person.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, well, that's not free.
No.
And then we wanted to do the one to Alaska. And then, of course, now if you include the flights round trip, and then, sometimes they leave at a certain hour, so you might have to arrive earlier and spend the night. Right. And I thought, this is becoming a very expensive trip.
Well, what was the $500 for then?
Well, it included administrative fees,
Okay.
port fees, gratuities.
Okay.
And government taxes.
Yeah, probably things they can't give away, like government
possible.
taxes
Okay.
and
Maybe.
board fees and things like
Okay,
that.
but in any case, free was not necessarily free.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the first time I received the offer, I just turned it down after I heard it wasn't free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, because I upped my bankroll, I started getting better offers than the initial ones that included a free balcony and more options for cruising.
Okay, because your tier status had increased through Total Rewards. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so last year we used the first option, which was for a Western Caribbean cruise. We had such a fantastic time that I went on 3 cruises last year through the casinos.
Through that, right?
All through the casinos.
And did you still have to pay however much, $500 or whatever?
But
okay.
now it was expected. And actually, depending on, now my status went up, somehow my fees went down.
Okay.
So I was paying only between like $350 to $450 for all of those.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not bad, really, if you think about it. $350.
Well, shoot, for a cruise, yeah. Says everything included food, probably not booze, but
sure.
food.
Well, it depends. Initially, it also depends if you have history cruising. Now, obviously, it's like the Players Club. The more you play, the more benefits you get. As a first-time cruiser,
Nice.
cruiser, they actually gave you free well drinks, free sodas,
Free well drinks.
Wow, it's like being at the table with Dr. Mike.
It's like being at the table.
Wow.
and free bottled water at the casino only.
Free bottled water if you're in the casino.
Right, that's right.
Step out on the deck, you're paying for that.
Yeah, either it's that or salt water.
Yeah. Right.
No, and it's $5 or so a bottle outside of the casino.
Okay.
So
You're like my dad. Then you take a bag and you keep asking for water.
That's right. In the casino. That's right.
In the casino, and just fill your bag up. So he gets 10 waters, drinks 1, and there's 9 in the bag when he leaves.
Right, so he can be out on deck and then just drink the water. Sir, did you pay for that? Oh, yeah.
Cruise benefit.
So we took 3 cruises. The first one was for the Caribbean, Southern Caribbean. Then the second one we took to Alaska, one way from
Vancouver?
Anchorage.
Okay.
Anchorage to Vancouver.
Okay.
Coming down. Huh?
Yeah.
And then the third one I took, I think it's Western Caribbean, which took you to all the Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, French, English, etc.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, all right. So your experience with it has been very good.
Yes.
It's just that anybody who wants to take advantage of it is going to have to realize that it's not really free and they're going to have to pay something up front. Certainly it'd be cheaper than paying for the cruise out of pocket.
Way cheaper.
But it's not completely free. Okay.
And you do have to pay for your airfare, like if you're going to fly out of Miami.
That's what you said. Yeah.
They don't cover that, right?
So last year I took advantage of 2 offers from Total Rewards
Oh,
where I
okay.
didn't have to pay for my flight. So the only port that they have a Harris facility at is New Orleans.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So you took advantage of a free trip that you had coming through Total Rewards, but obviously they won't fly you anywhere.
No, they fly you to a property.
They have to fly you
to
yeah.
New Orleans and then
Okay,
and then
right.
And I flew to New Orleans. They picked me up in the limo.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Drove you to Miami or something?
I wish.
Yeah. Right.
And they brought me back to the hotel. At the hotel, I spent one night. The very next day, I hopped on the cruise.
Yeah.
7 days later, came back, went straight to the hotel, and picked up the limo on the return home.
Good.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, very good. All right. Well, I guess that's a positive experience. Yeah. For listeners, just keep in mind there's going to be some out of pocket, but overall, good experience.
Yeah. I mean, if you can go on a cruise for $500
Right.
a person, that's actually
Was it? That's good. It wasn't 500 a person, was it? Was it 500 for both of you?
No, per person.
Oh, okay.
person.
So, all right. So there's still some expense to it.
There
Okay.
were some free upgrades, though, depending on the time of year and the offer. So we had free upgrades to specialty restaurants.
Oh, that's right on the food. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
Yeah. Good. And how were the casinos on board?
Well, they're very small.
Yeah.
They're only open when you're in international waters.
Okay. Right.
Which is interesting because they might be open for a few hours. They might be open for 36 hours. years.
Yeah.
Right.
And those employees are still working the duration
Wow.
of that time. I specifically was on 3 Norwegian Cruise Line cruises, and there were no craps. There was no roulette.
Huh.
They had table games,
Just card games, huh?
card games, and slot machines, but not a lot.
Did they have any tournaments when you were on it?
Not while I was on it. But here's the thing about their slot machines. They're all tweaked in a way so that it has very little payout. And I don't mean necessarily how often they pay out, but the dollar amounts.
Okay.
So if you went to a regular, like a Wheel of Fortune machine,
Right.
that's a dollar machine, well, that's
Right.
going to pay out $1 million anywhere except a cruise ship, which will pay out $10,000.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, that's interesting. It's funny because we have never heard of cruises that didn't have roulette and craps.
Yeah, well, the only one I went on had both of those, and it had tournaments. They had like, we're going to be out to sea all day this day, and there's a poker tournament, and you could sign up for the poker tournament, and then they paid out depending on how many people signed up. Yeah. That was kind of a bust, actually. I don't know if I ever talked about that, but it was like 10 people signed up.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and they're each paying $20. There's like $200 in there.
Okay, right.
And you're thinking, for me, I'm thinking, they're going to pay 3 spots. I'm going to, if you win the whole thing, you're winning a few bucks. I'll just go play craps.
Right.
Now to be corrected, when you say tournaments, sometimes they have a cruise where there's a big tournament happening and they invite you for. I've received a few offers like that.
Right.
So there were little tournaments, but they were just on the daily itinerary.
Right.
Like you
Right.
could play bingo over here, or you could do music trivia, or you could do a small tournament.
Right. Some kind of blackjack tournament or something like that.
Well, in general, all the cruise lines have different kind of, there are cruises that are just poker. That's the emphasis, right? And, come and they've got tournaments on there. And so, there's all. Now, Elle, you're primarily a slots player.
I am.
Like us, you're just a recreational gambler for the most part, I would say. So,
Well, I was audited last year, and the IRS agent asked me, "Are you a professional gambler?" And I looked at her and said, "No."
You should have just looked at her and said, define professional.
yeah, a semi-pro is what you should have said. Yeah.
Well, she looked at my W-2Gs and kind of shook her head a little bit.
Okay.
The great thing about it was the reason I was audited were for 2 reasons. One was I travel a lot for business. And so I had a lot of travel expenses. And I literally gave an item by item spreadsheet accounting for everything. Yeah. And the other one was gambling winnings.
Right.
But I had my win-loss sheets there.
It's always good to keep track,
After the entire audit and 4 hours in the office, 0.
Good.
Right.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, good.
See, I don't worry about that being audited myself.
Well,
on gambling, because I'm just going to say, just go to the casino and ask them. I mean, they've got all my money.
Well, that's true, but
So the government can't get any because they've got it all.
That's true, but keep in mind too, as table players, we rarely get W2Gs. It's only when we hit the fire bet, basically, the way that we play.
Right. And
so
when I asked my CPA once, she said, one W2G is not going to send up any red flags anywhere, right? It's when you've got
when you
like
have like
40
30
or 50 of them. Yeah. Well, my brother, same thing, plays a lot of slots. He's probably got 3 I know of at least this weekend. He's in Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's got 3 WGs because he hit, jackpots on some slot machines.
Yeah.
But he's playing so much
sure.
that, that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and especially, depending on what his denomination is, if he ever plays like $5 slots, goes into like the high limit,
right.
well, you're going to hit $1,200 or more all the time, right?
There's
just
I don't know
many.
how they handle that.
That's the law, right? They got to give it to you. So.
Yeah.
Well, so Elle, what do you like to play? What do you look for? When you go into the casino, are there certain machines that you like? Are there certain places you like to play? What do you play?
Well, I like old school reels.
Okay, right.
If it looks like a computer with 9 lines and 9 bets, I'm
all those
confused.
things where it comes up and it says I won.
You're kind of like me. For years, if it didn't have a cherry on it, I wasn't playing it. I just wanted a cherry on there.
Well, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, won $11,000 on a very popular machine called Buffalo.
Oh, sure, that's the huge ones. That's a big machine. Yeah.
And a casino slot worker told me the reason why it's popular is you don't have to do a max bet in order to win the jackpot. You can do a minimum.
Really?
Yeah, that's why my dad likes it.
Oh, that's great.
He can play the 60 cents and still get jackpot.
Okay,
So
all
my
right.
colleague won $11,000, and I said, "Send me a picture."
Mm-hmm.
So she did, and I looked at the screen. And I said, "How in the world is that $11,000?"
You're trying to figure out all the combinations. Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't figure it out. I even Googled it, and I said, "What are the combination for the payouts?"
Yeah.
And I still couldn't figure it out.
See, you're like me. In the old days, I liked the machine had printed out, okay, you get, 3 sevens, you get this. If you get a red, white, and blue 7, you get this. It was all on the machine, right?
Yeah, right.
So you could always tell what you won. I look at these ones now, and there's all this stuff, and there's nothing on the machine.
No, you have to page through the actual screens,
you have
the video,
to go through screens to see, and then it's so complicated.
And then you're playing so many lines that it's like, oh, okay, and that it kind of draws the lines up there, and
I ask my dad that all the time. I mean, how'd you get that? Oh, I don't know. I got this and that. Right. he really has no clue. He just knows that it's saying he's getting $800.
Yeah.
But most people don't realize is on the computer type machines with like 9 different lines, you have to match the 3 first rows.
Yeah, that's the important thing is just look to the left. Initially. That's the most important thing is, okay, if the first 2 left columns, there's basically nothing there, nothing matches up, you can pretty much ignore what's coming after that. Yeah, that's true.
So I've been quite successful on slot machines over the last 2-3 years, which is how long I've been gambling.
Okay.
And I like dollar machines initially, and I would always somehow win a jackpot every time I visited.
Okay.
I don't know why. I can't explain. I get this little, you know that feeling you get when you get the chills? Mm-hmm. But, it's hot and you shouldn't be getting the chills, and I get the chills. Every time I get that, and I'm not kidding, I win.
All right.
I'd be sitting
there. All right, we'll take your word for it.
In a bucket of ice. I'd just be sitting there. I'm freezing. Come on, jackpot.
And so let me tell you how it all really started.
All right.
My sister invited me to go to Harrah's, and Harrah's was the newest casino in our region that wasn't just a local Indian casino.
Right. Harrah's by us. Harrah's, Southern California.
That's correct. And so I went up and gambled with her. And, in the very beginning, they give you very small comps and benefits. And
it may be like $5, $10.
Right.
Yeah,
and then get 2 free nights, Sunday through Thursday.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So one year, now don't tell anyone, I gave them to my
You realize it's a
brother.
podcast.
I offered it to my brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah, Mike, you've done that before.
Oh, yeah,
Gotten
all the
rooms for
time.
people. Sure.
And then I invited them to go to the zoo because we had passes, the wild animal park up there. And so I had to physically go there, check them in.
Yeah, right.
And so we went there and we went to the buffet. I treated them to that. And then we pretty much closed the buffet and it was time for them to go to bed. And I started leaving. And I thought, oh my goodness, you know what? I haven't played. Now I'm using comps without playing. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's probably not a good combination. Right?
It's a gambler's guilt.
Yeah, they guilted you into it. Hey, we gave you this stuff. You got to play.
Get over here and play.
And then the fear that you'll never get another offer.
That's the big thing. Yeah, exactly.
So I hadn't gone to the bank. I just looked in my wallet. I happened to have $200 with me. And then I started walking around. I went to a dollar machine, 3 coins in, and I played it and I didn't really win anything. And I thought, you know what, I'll leave. And as I'm walking out towards the door, I get that feeling that I told you about, that little tremble.
All right.
And I look over and it draws me to the high limit slots. Well,
oh boy.
I don't play the high limit slots. Well, then. And so I walk in and I walk around the area just waiting for that feeling. And I look around and I go, oh, wow, $25. Well, that's too much. And I saw another one, 25. Oh, and I said, you know what, never mind. I turned around and started walking out.
Yeah.
And then I got that little chill. And I looked at where I was, and it was a circle bank of $5 machines. And I thought, well, $5.
Right.
Okay, so
how could that hurt?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I walked up to the Blazing Sevens machine, and it was $5, 3 coins in. I thought, oh my goodness, that's $15 a pull. I only have $100 left. Well, okay, why not? So I put my money in, and after, I don't know, hitting it a few times, it hits mixed sevens, which is a $1,000 payout.
Okay.
Now, you don't need a hand payout for that because it's less than $1,200.
Right.
So I kept playing. I thought, this is fantastic. So I kept going, and it got down to 600 and something. And then all of a sudden, it hits again, solid sevens, which was a $1,500 payout.
Okay.
So the woman hand pays me and says, congratulations. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. So I take my voucher, and she says, don't forget your voucher. I take that voucher out and I walk around and it could have been your dad, but it wasn't. I don't think so. But there was a man there, an older gentleman, banging on the slot machine.
Yeah.
Willing it to win. And of course, I don't think it was working. So I sat next to him because it was comedy and I just had to watch until he stared at me. And then I thought, oh, I'm playing. That's why I'm here. I put that voucher in the machine and I didn't even know what it was. And I looked, it was a quick hits machine, which means it's only 2 coins in, $5.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was great. And I thought, well, I'm playing on their money now. So I hit it once, nothing. I hit it twice. And the blue lights and the music. And apparently I got mixed quick hits. And the jackpot for that was $1,065.
Wow.
The same woman comes around, hand pays me out, and says, fantastic. Don't forget, you still have a voucher for about $640. You should take it and run.
Yeah.
That's what she said. So what do? I go to the next slot machine. Now, the next slot machine.
Yeah, it's their money you're playing
Exactly.
with.
Yeah, exactly. It's not your money. It's theirs.
I figured, this is the voucher. I'll play this until it goes.
Right.
So I go to the very next machine, which was also a quick hits machine. Looked different. 2 coins
they're
in,
popular. Yeah.
$5. And I put my voucher in and I hit it once, nothing. $10 gone. I hit it twice and it hits, but it's not the blue lights. It's not the music. It's muted. And I thought I just hit tilt. I voided
broke
the
the
machine,
Yeah,
right? And a white versus a blue light was spinning. And then a woman came around and I'm trying to analyze this thinking, what is this? And I look on the pay line and straight across was quick hits. I look up at the menu. I had won $50,000.
Holy cow.
Wow.
In 2 pulls.
Yeah.
Now it's not a regular payout. So about, several people in suits.
Yeah, this takes a little longer. Yeah.
This takes a while.
They open the machine and verify a chip even.
I make sure it wasn't a malfunction. Yeah.
Right.
The nice thing is I got a check that said winner, winner in the memo line. And the greatest thing of all is I happen to be wearing cargo shorts. So in my left pocket, I had $1,500 in cash. In my right pocket, I had $1,065 in cash. I had a check for $50,000 and a voucher for $620. Wow. I went home.
Yeah, good.
Oh, God. I thought the end of the story was going to be I went up to the room, kicked my relatives out, and said, get the hell out of here. I'm partying.
Yeah, that's it. Or worse, I thought. And so at the end, I ended up winning $200 for the weekend.
That's how mine is. And so I went home even.
And the funny thing is my brother and sister-in-law were already upstairs, like in bed.
Yeah.
And after each win, I'd call him. So right after the 50,000 when I called, and they're like, what?
Yeah, that's always fun when you're in your room trying to sleep and your relatives calling you, telling you how much they won.
That's right.
Shut up.
Oh, man. That's a great story. Well, El, thanks for coming on the show. We're glad you were able to make it. Good luck in your gambling ventures. Of course, I see you all the time, and we see you up at Harrah's. So.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming on, and I'll probably see you next week for some family something.
Yeah, thanks for the info on the cruise, too.
Well,
thank you,
Because
Mark.
we've always wondered, that's a big thing. Is it free?
Yeah.
Because I get them just like you every week. I mean, something comes, take your cruise, and we just never do it.
Yeah.
We just figure, it's going to cost a few $1,000s to take the whole family.
Now, just remember, even though there's a partnership with Total Rewards and other casinos, because they're all offering similar cruises, also on Norwegian Cruise Line, that they're different. The casino services at Norwegian Cruise Line has their own marketing team. And depending on your play with them, you can also elevate in your card status, which gives you premium drinks, at the casino, as well as offers directly from them.
Yeah.
All right. So this, at least we can say, this was your experience. Your mileage may vary, but these offers, might be worth your time.
Yeah,
So,
premium drinks. I mean, no more well drinks.
that's right. Yeah.
You're walking around, I'm having a premium drink.
All right.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mike. Thank you, Mark, for having me.
All right, thanks,
All
Al.
right, thanks.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. Hey, we had something kind of funny happen to us at the casino last week. We were playing craps, and one of our favorite dealers, Seda, came up to us. She was dealing baccarat at the time, but she was about to go on break. She came over to say hi and see how we were doing. And so we asked her, what time did your shift start? And she kind of hesitated and paused. And it's like, oh, gosh, did we ask something? Maybe she's not willing to give us the information over something.
That's secretive, Mark.
And then she finally said 1900. I'm thinking, okay, she's giving us military time.
Right.
Why is that, right? And so then we're thinking, wait, that's 7 o'clock. She says, yeah, you're playing crap. So I didn't want to say
7.
right. She didn't say it. So I thought that was pretty funny. She realized, that some people might not like that. So
what a good dealer.
Very good dealer.
I mean, seriously, most people, I started at 7,
Yeah,
not even thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's great. But that wasn't the only thing funny that happened.
What's the other thing?
Well, when we got there, we pulled into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And there on the corner stood a man wearing only shorts.
That's right.
No shirt.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't like particularly hot or anything.
Well, it was a little hot.
it was
But
warm.
seeing a guy with no shirt and shorts might have been a little unusual, but it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. Middle-aged guy.
Yeah.
What made it unusual is both his hands were in his pants, not in his pockets.
Both hands.
Both hands. Not in his pockets, but actually in his pants, down in his, nether regions.
Yeah. So, if it had been one hand, it's like, all right, he's trying to make a little room.
Or he's scratching or something. But both hands.
Both hands. All right. I think that counts as a public nudity sighting for you, Dr. Mike. Yeah.
It's been a while, and I was thinking, my luck's over, but no, it's back.
It's back. He's back, baby.
It's back with a vengeance.
Something. Well, and there's one more funny thing that happened.
Okay,
all right.
All right, what was that?
So we're at the table, and it was going very slowly. They had some new dealers, and it was a little rough. Yeah. So you and I started talking about movies, and you said, "Oh, the other night I flipped over to the first Planet of the Apes movie."
Right.
And so I said, "Oh, the one with Charlton Heston is." Yeah. You said, "No, the first from the recent ones." Oh, I said, "Oh, the one with James Franco, right?" Yeah. And you said, "No, the one with Mark Wahlberg." And I'm thinking, what? If anybody who says I was watching the first Planet of the Apes, I wouldn't think of the one with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, no, because it was a few years back.
Well, yeah, it was. What, it was like the late 90s? And it's like the worst one, too, right?
I should have and that was the point. I wanted to say how bad that one was, but I still watched it.
Well, you were saying something about the makeup, right?
Yeah, the makeup's terrible.
That's funny. I don't remember specifically.
The makeup's terrible. And my wife and I watch Face Off on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, yeah, that is a reality show where they have people compete with the makeup. Yeah.
And they're so awesome how they do it. Right. And this makeup in that was so bad. Huh. That's what really bugged me about I started focusing on their makeup, not the show itself, the storyline. But yeah.
But then you told me you sat and you watched the whole thing.
Well, of course.
Mike, there's a movie on your DVR called Hard 8.
Yeah. It's still there. I get fixated on something and it's like the craps table. I get fixated. Next thing I know, it's 12 hours.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline segment. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is frequent caller Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Marty from Northern California. Just got back from a weekend trip to Vegas, and I had something happen to me that hasn't happened in a long time. In one session, at one table at the Cromwell, 3.5 hours, the dice went around the table one time, and we hit 4 four-way fire bets in the 3.5 hours. And in all 4 cases, we were working on the 5th number. So just an incredible set of rolls. No one had more than a half-hour roll, but everybody rolled for 20 or 30 minutes. It's one of those bizarre things where I play dice, a couple times a month, and I can go 3-4 months without hitting a fire bet. Hit 4 of them in 3.5 hours was just an incredible deal. So anyway, things are still good at the Cromwell, still a great crew there. Everything's kind of cool. The other big thing is, it is Monday afternoon, and I just won the eBay auction for one of the big A's from the old Las Vegas Club sign. I paid for it. It's currently being shipped to my house, and I can't wait to get the thing wired up and lighting up my garage. So anyway, guys, I really do love the show. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Nice. Fun.
Big A. Be fun to have that.
That thing's got to be huge, right? From the old sign.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if our garage would be tall enough, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
Boy, craps. It was a stupid game, huh? Right? You can go so long without hitting anything, and then four fire bets.
We say that all the time. What a stupid game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do with that A. I put it on my house.
On like the top?
Yeah.
On your roof.
Right, just
so
on the
you
roof.
Can see it.
And people say, what's that? Well, that's the big A from the Las Vegas Club.
That's right. You'd have to clear.
Look at them like, you idiot.
You'd have to clear with the airport.
Or a-hole.
That's right. Yeah, you just here. That's right. You know where Dr. Mike lives? Oh, yeah, it's the big a-hole sign over there. You see it? Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
The whole neighborhood can see it. All right. Next up, Dave.
Hi, this is Dave from Northern New Jersey. I've been meaning to do this for a couple months now. We met at Vegas Vacation 4. In fact, we had lunch together at Wicked Spoon. And in fact, I've been meaning to apologize for that. Normally when I go to Vegas, I'm alone, so I have a don't care kind of attitude. So when I was at the buffet and I saw that they had garlic as an option for the omelet, I told the guy, add garlic and add a lot because I don't care how bad it stinks. I'll stink out the whole place. Then when I picked it up and I'm like, ooh, it's nice and smelly. And I'm walking back to my table and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm sitting with a couple of guys I want to be friendly with. So I hope I didn't stink you out too much. And if I did, well, sorry.
I don't remember him smelling like garlic. Well, first of all, your back was killing you, so that's all you were fixating on. My foot was killing me,
right?
So he could have breathed right on us.
Yeah,
and
between that and we were anxious to get back to playing craps. Right. He could have been naked there. I don't even. That's right.
Anyway, I just got done listening to the episode on superstitions, and I just had to add a couple of points. Number one, I believe Mark should be telling a story about a particular event that happened at Vegas Vacation. I believe it's superstition-based, but we were at the dice tables, and something happened with Mark's roll, and he was able to successfully call a no roll. I think a lot of the people at the table were very confused about what happened, including some of the dealers. But everybody agreed, it's no roll. So, Mark, why don't you tell that story and then tell us that you don't believe in silly superstitions?
I'm trying to remember what this might have been. We played so much craps. I think this is what it was. And see if you remember this, Mike. I think what it was, we were on a table, and I rolled, and one of the dice slipped out of my hand so that it just landed in front of me. So one of the dice went to the other side of the table, but then one landed right. I think what I did was I very quickly picked up the die that dropped right in front of me and held it. So, and then I screamed out, no roll. Yeah. Does that sound right? Do you remember something like that?
Right. That sounds right. Well, we've done that before.
Yeah.
A lot of times you just scream out no roll. The points man, you're no roll.
That's right. We'll see if they listen to me. Well, I just don't like the idea of them calling a 7 and one of the dice just had landed right in front.
Well, typically if you pick them up and you drop one and you haven't even thrown the other one, it's no roll. They'll say
and that is true. A lot of places, I didn't even want to give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
I just was, all right, it's no roll. So I think that's what it was.
So let's see, you were taking control of the craps table.
Yeah.
That's never, when does that happen?
Never.
Yeah.
That's weird. Never. Yeah, that is a strange story.
You also discussed how so many people have this silly belief about the casinos rigging the shuffling machines. I mean, I hear it myself from my friends when I'm playing poker at home. It just makes me nuts. I mean, first of all, if you really believe all that, why are you in the casino to begin with? And secondly, even if they had the desire to do it, it'd be impossible to do, because how is the machine supposed to know how many players are at the table so that the dealer gets the good hand? Or if it's a blackjack shuffler, somebody's going to be not playing basic strategy. So whatever the machine does ain't going to work anyway. So people, forget about it. It ain't happening.
All I got to say about that is, Dave, alien technology. Alien technology in those shuffling machines
that we don't understand.
They can determine everything. They go through all the permutations and everything, and that's how they get you.
No, that's good. Yeah. Dave does make a good point, though, to kind of add to what we said last time. Even if you believe that there is conspiracy going on,
or alien technology,
the dealer would have to be maybe entering, the number of people playing, and like you said, the machine doesn't know how people are going to play. Yeah. How does the machine know you're going to take a hit or not or whatever? Yeah,
it's just superstition.
Yep, that's all it is.
If there was anything more to it, we'd call it something else. But
right,
we call
exactly.
It superstition.
That's why we call it superstition.
Yeah.
You also talked about coolers. I truly believe in coolers. They exist, and they're effective. Well, a little effective. Maybe about 1/6 of the time.
I'll go for that.
My last thoughts on superstitions is this. This is what I have on my signature on my Wizard of Vegas account. Superstitions are silly, childish rituals born out of the fear of the unknown. But how much does it cost to knock on wood? Okay, maybe one more thought. I was recently at the Sands in Pennsylvania when I went on a great roll at the craps table. I bought in for $100, and 2 shooters before me built my stack up to about $500. And then the dice came to me. And I held the dice, I don't know, for about 35, 40 minutes or so. And when I finally sevened out, sure enough, I had hit a stack of chips and sevened out. And don't you know, the whole table was moaning and groaning that I hit a stack of chips. And I said, wait a second. You guys are all upset that I hit a stack of chips and sevened out? Nobody said anything the other couple of times I hit a stack of chips. And besides, if you didn't make money on that roll, you're doing it wrong. So if you're still complaining, you can kiss my lily white butt. Everybody was laughing, even the dealers. I made a little over $3,000 on that roll. And I got to thank Dr. Mike for that, because when I was in Vegas, we were playing together, and I saw the way he was betting. He is betting like a freaking animal. I mean, okay, his starting bets were higher than mine, so at the end of a good roll, he had more money than me, and that's fine. But the way he presses those bets and really is aggressive, I'm starting to get aggressive too, and I got to thank Dr. Mike for that.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, thank both of you guys. Thank everybody for the great shows you've been putting on. Keep up the good work. And I'll see you again, not for Vegas Vacation 5 or the Summit, but probably Vacation 6. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know if getting real aggressive is the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're a doctor. You're helping people.
He's probably cussing me out later. Dr. Mike.
Yeah, confirmation bias we talked about, right? You hit the stack of chips 7 out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And people are forgetting, the other times when you hit the stack of chips and you made the point or you made a 4 or you just rolled craps or whatever. So, yeah.
I know. You know what? So, seriously, when we get a casino, we'll have coolers.
Yeah, we'll hire them.
That. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll combine them with shadow people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cool. Shadow people that are coolers.
Oh, okay.
How's that?
All right, I like that. Yeah, but
that'll be our thing.
if we're really going to hire coolers, and we want them to work, what it's going to do is if he goes to a craps table and we want a 7 out, the cooler is going to make some kind of distraction after the roll.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, it's underdog, and then he'll actually move the dice when nobody's looking to a 7.
Okay,
That's how, then our coolers will be more effective.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we'll cancel our plans to have people walk around with big gold chains on with the word cooler on the underneath. We'll stop that.
All right, let's move on. Next call.
Hey, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Mark from Florida calling. I just wanted to give you a quick trip report from a trip to Vegas with my brother week before last. I want to say up front, really, really like your show. And Dr. Mike, I hope you are fully recovered so you can not miss any craps time. So while we were in Vegas, we played some craps at different places, downtown at the Cal and also the D and Golden Gate, and had a lot of fun in all 3 places, and the crews were very good. I just played a pass line with 2 come bets and odds, and the dealers were very adept at reading what was going on there so they could do the off and on, replace the chips for me, and it was a lot of confusing at night, a lot of people playing, and boy, those guys were quick. I had an interesting story playing Mississippi Stud. I think I will not say where this was, but this kind of comes under the category of dealer mistakes. Playing with my brother, we were playing at the same table, but there was one person separating us. And after a while, as people were moving around, he asked if he could change places and we could sit next to each other. And the lady said, sure. So we had been playing about an hour, and the pit boss comes over and looks at the little computer screen, I guess, where they're tracking who's playing. And she said, who are you? She's saying, my brother, you're not, when did you get here? And he's having a conversation with her, and he said, I gave you my card an hour ago, and I've been playing. Well, in the meantime, the dealer's playing a hand, and I think he looks like he's just a little bit disgusted with the interruption. But my brother's in the hand, and the dealer had turned over the 3rd card, and my brother had not folded, and he had not yet placed his 5th Street bet. But seeing that, the whole time he's having a conversation with the pit boss, he has an ace in his hand, and the dealer flips over an ace, and so he just goes, oh, okay, and puts the 3 chips in the 5th Street bet, and, the hand is resolved, and the dealer pays it off, and he just kind of had a smug look on his face, and nothing was ever said, but I guess you would call that pass posting that was allowed. The dealer, a few hands later, said, gee, I hope I have a good card for you, as he's flipping over his last card. He says, probably not as good as the one a couple hands ago. We just kind of exchanged glances. So just wanted to comment on that. Maybe you have a similar story that happened at one point where the dealer kind of caught himself in a mistake.
And then Mark got cut off there at the 3-minute mark. Yeah, for people not familiar with Mississippi Stud, so what is happening is this last card is about to be revealed. And before the last card is revealed, the player either has to fold his hand or make a wager.
And increase their wager.
Right. And so in this case, Mark's brother had done neither, but the dealer revealed that last card.
Yeah, so he knows whether he's going to win or not.
Yeah, that's right. And it turned out he had a pair of aces, so then he made the bet. So yeah, it's kind of past posting, but it's the dealer's responsibility. The dealer is not supposed to reveal that last card until the player has acted, and Mark's brother had not acted. So.
Well, because he was talking with the pit.
Right, yeah.
Now, would you agree with this statement that most dealer mistakes, or at least a large amount of dealer mistakes, are when there's some other distraction.
Oh, yeah, sure. That can easily happen.
I mean,
Certainly,
in craps,
yeah.
we see a lot of mistakes, and it's usually when they're distracted by something else. Like they've got to pay off a big, big, horn bet that somebody made, and then they forget to pick up their losers or something like
definitely,
that. Right?
Yeah. So in this case, I don't know, even if I had been the casino, I probably would have allowed this past posting.
Right.
Because it was a dealer mistake. And luckily...
Oh, it wasn't his fault.
No, and luckily nothing more came of it, because I could see a situation where the dealer calls the pit over and says, here's what happened, and I bet they would have burned that ace or put it back in there and made him shuffle. So that I wouldn't have liked. But it's just all he had was a pair, right? It wasn't that big a deal. It's not some big,
like he made some huge hand.
So that's good. So that's a good story. And the other thing too is Mark said that his brother there was somebody sitting between them and he changed seats. This is another good example of always let the pit boss know when you change seats, because then maybe you're not getting rated correctly.
Right.
Obviously they still had that woman, in that seat, and that's why.
And they probably had him leaving. Right?
Yeah,
so
it could be, right. Now, it worked out in this case because the dealer messed up.
Yeah,
But always let the dealer know when you've changed seats, even if it's moving over just one.
Yeah, and thanks for the well wishes too, by the way.
Yeah, how are you doing, Dr.
I am
Mike?
Getting much better, much better.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I actually threw the dice last night and felt comfortable.
Oh, good. Good, very good. That's the most important thing,
Most important thing. Working, I can get through. But
that's right.
I got to be able to throw.
Yeah. All right, next call from Patrick.
Hey, Mike, Dr. Mike and Mark. Hey, actually love the show. This is Patrick from Washington, D.C., and I have 2 trip reports. Recently, I went to the MGM National Harbor and was pleased to see they introduced $50 crap tables finally. They had 25 tables all the time. That didn't necessarily mean I would win, but I could play longer. The other thing of note from this trip was witnessing the most aggressive crap strategy I've ever seen. In the middle of a roll, a guy walked up next to me and pulled out a wad of $100 bills. He tossed $600 to the dealer and announced $200 on each of the 7s, hopping the 7 bets. He did this 5 times in a row and lost every time. And then about 2 rolls after he left, very upset, the dealer 7'd out. So very interesting strategy. My second trip was a cruise on the Royal Caribbean Anthem of the Seas. They had a really nice casino. There were a number of tables with blackjack, 4-card poker, roulette, and they had 1 craps table. With respect to blackjack, the conditions were excellent. The minimum tables were $10, paid 3 to 2, and were dealt out of a shoe. The dealers showed the table the first burn card and dealt out about 85% of the shoe. In addition, they offered the lucky ladies side bet. This provided excellent conditions. If you're a card counter, you get an advantage not only in the blackjack game, but also in the side bet. The craps table presented the first for me. It was a $10 table, but offered only single odds, which is something I've never seen playing craps all across the United States. If you bet $25, you got up to 2 times odds. Oddly, though, that was the only place I really won. Even though I was counting cards at the blackjack table, I ended up mostly even, but I won quite a bit playing at the craps table. So I guess they call that gambling. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Bye.
Okay, so when you play blackjack, typically after a shuffle, the dealer will burn that first card.
Never show it to you.
Never show it. What that means is they basically take the first card off the deck and just put it in the discard pile.
Right.
The idea being that, I don't know, somebody may know what that card is.
Right.
But yeah, Mike, I have never seen a dealer actually show that burn card to the players. It almost undoes the whole point of it, right, for counting. And then 85%, you ask card counters, the most important thing that they're looking for in a game is penetration in the deck. And 85%, that's huge.
That's huge because it's mostly between 50 and 60.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, so boy, head on. Maybe we're giving something away here. Head on over to the
when we get a
Anthem
cruise line, we'll remember we'll have 2 craps tables and we'll remember to 40% of the deck only.
The craps tables, you said?
Yeah, 2 craps tables.
Okay, all right. 40. It's funny, isn't it? With all the fantastic rules of that blackjack table, and then just single odds on craps.
Yeah, right.
They're
worried about losing. Craps. How people win at craps.
What do you think of that guy who's just coming up to the table with a big wad of cash and just betting on Big Red the whole time, hopping the 7s?
Well, I told you the other night when you weren't there, the guy that came up and was the no 4 guy.
Oh yeah, right.
And he makes a big huge no 4 bet, and the first thing guy 7's out, he wins that. Then I proceeded next roll, he's making no 4 bets. I proceed to roll like 4 4s during my roll.
That can happen.
He just got hammered and walked away. And it's not a bad strategy, betting the no 4, right?
Right, because you're going to win more. Well, you're going to win more often than you're going to lose. Yeah,
right. He just happened to come up when I was rolling 4s, so that happens. And that guy could have. How many times have you seen 3 7s on the come out?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right, 7 come out, 7 come out, 7 guy. I mean, he could have made a haul.
Yeah, right? Anything could have happened. All right, let's hear from Doug.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Doug from Northern California. Just calling in to tell you about a recent trip to Vegas my wife and I took. My wife managed to get 3 rooms at the Luxor, and it was the first time staying there. It was okay once we got over the smell. I don't know if people mention that, but boy, that place had a smell.
Oh, it comes up a lot.
They treated us.
Well, I don't remember. We played there recently, but we haven't stayed there in a long time.
We have stayed there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, 20 years ago? So,
right,
So,
I mean, all we smelled was us.
Yeah, I doubt it smells the same as it did 20 years ago.
Yeah. And the smell we got was like, oh, that's just us.
Yeah, that's it. I wake up to that every day.
Yeah, right.
Pretty well. We started out gambling on Thursday, and we were playing pretty liberally, and on Friday afternoon, a host sent me an email introducing herself and said to let her know if we needed anything.
We need a better smelling room.
I responded, asking about the comp and free play policy. And she responds saying she loaded $200 free play on our account and $300 food and beverage comp. So that kind of impressed me. I guess if you ask, you shall receive does come true every now and then. And then secondly, at the craps table Saturday morning, I was playing my basic pass line, max odds, a couple of come bets, with max odds. And I was battling kind of back and forth for a while. And then the dealer rolls a point of 6. And for some reason, I just had an impulse to shout out $10 hard 8 for me and the boy. So I got the usual, hey, thanks for the bet. And sure enough, the shooter rolls a pair of 4s, hard 8. So we're kind of celebrating. And during that celebration, I forgot to put my odds up on my comeback of the 8. So you can probably guess, next roll, 5-3, comeback winner. So I look down, and the dealer actually pays me as if I had full odds. And then he takes back my odds, puts it on my 8 comeback, and says, I know you forgot. And so I thought that was pretty cool. It's nice having dealers that actually follow along. But I think it may have something to do with my little dealer bet that won. Anyways, take care. Bye.
You're still laughing about the smell thing. You can't get over it.
I can't get over that. I'm still giggling about the smell thing. Doug, that's going to make my week. I'll tell you what, Monday mornings at work, you get a patient, they sit down and, you always just a little chit chat, right? How was your weekend? And they always ask me, tomorrow I'm going to tell everybody, yeah, it was pretty good once I got over the smell. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, yeah, I liked the room once we got over the smell. I'm going to use that line forever. Just whenever anyone asks them, yeah, it's pretty good once you get over the smell.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, great story about them paying you odds even though you didn't make the bet. Sure, tipping the dealer, that certainly helped. A good casino will do that if they know that you're consistently,
they do it for us quite a bit because we consistently make the same bets. And every once in a while you get, you're screwing around or talking and you forget to make your bet.
Yeah.
And they we covered that.
Mike, it's almost like what you were just talking about. They were distracted by having just hit the hard 8. Right. The dealer moves the come bet up, and the dealer will usually ask if you want odds, especially if you're consistently doing
it. They know you're taking it, they'll say, oh, your odds.
So the dealer's kind of taking responsibility for it in this case as well. Yeah. And it's funny because it just happens to be the Luxor, the very first place this ever happened to me, where I had forgotten to take odds on my pass line, was at Luxor, and sure enough, they said, yeah, go ahead and pay him.
Yeah, right. And a good casino will, because for number one, they know it's coming back.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And it's just good PR, and everyone's happy.
It's good PR, yeah.
Plus, you'll probably get your dealer some more tips.
That's right. Yeah, sure.
So from the Pitt's perspective, hey, the dealers keep them happy. It's always good to have happy employees.
No, that's a
once
good
you
point.
Get over their smell.
And good story about just asking the host for, hey, what's your comp policy? Okay. Doesn't hurt to ask. Yeah. Right. The worst they can say is no, and you never know what you might get.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's kind of like Elle was talking about, right, at Barona. It's like you got to ask for it.
Yeah, right? You got to ask for it. And once you ask for it, they were willing to give it to her real quick. She said, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right, final call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Robert from Mississippi. I was just calling to give you an update on my trip down to Biloxi, Mississippi last weekend. I actually finally hit my first all small, all tall, all in all bet. But the most interesting part was that I actually came out on the number 4, rolled every single number, hit my all bet, and then crapped out before hitting the 4. So I thought that was probably the most interesting part. But of course, the best part of all of it was that it got me back to around even for the weekend. So I just thought that was an interesting tidbit that the first time I got it, I actually never made the point. So I was basically the only one at the money-making table. So thanks again for y'all's podcast. Talk to you soon.
Yep, craps is a stupid game. Remember just the other night, Mike, we were at the craps table, and Jay, a regular there, was rolling the dice, had a huge roll.
Huge roll.
Right, brought us all that we had been losing, brought us back.
I bought him a drink at the end of his roll.
It was huge. He only made 1 point.
Yeah, made 1
point. It was right. That was all it was.
Right.
He just rolled for so long, just rolling numbers.
Right.
So yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to do another Ask a Dealer segment that we've done in the past. Haven't done one in a long time. We actually have 3 dealers now who have offered to come on the show and answer some questions.
Right.
So if we can get enough questions, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense to have them all 3 on at the same time, but maybe we'll do like some separate interviews, or I'll have them call in, or we can, I don't know how.
We'll work something out.
We'll do something. Maybe, we'll have like a single question, then I'll have answers from all of them in play. Depends on how ambitious I want to be. But send us your Ask a Dealer question. If you have questions you'd like to ask a real dealer, get in touch with us, email us, or put it on Twitter or Facebook, whatever you want to do. And maybe we'll have another one of those segments coming up soon.
I'm still giggling over the smell
God.
thing. I'm going to think about this all day.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at You Can Bet On That, and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We'd love to get your feedback. One more thing, too. If you go to our webpage, there is a contact page that you can go to send us a message. And one of the fields that you fill in is your own email address. If you want us to respond, make sure that you type in your email address correctly, because we had a listener who wrote in recently, and the email address he put in must have been wrong because it kept kicking back. So if you want a response, make sure. I'd hate for you to think that I'm just ignoring you and I haven't written back, and it's just because the email address is wrong. Right. But that's if you go through our webpage. Of course, you can always just email us, because that's all we get anyways, just an email through that.
Right.
So yeah. All right, Mike, what do you got? Take us home.
I can't stop laughing about that. Remember when we first started the podcast, listeners who listened to the first day when we were in the bathroom?
You're right.
We're in a much bigger space. We got great equipment. It smells the same.
Yeah, it still smells the same.
It still smells the same.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.